Girl's Guide to Corporate South Africa by Lindelwa Skenjana is a chronological memoir that includes the insides of black women at various stages of their careers as they navigate the pitfalls of the corporate world. It deals with issues of such as racism, sexism, ethnic chauvinism, ageism, and sexual harassment that many encounter with naivety. The guide helps black women learn what Skenjana wished she knew before going into the corporate environment. In the book, she gives other women of color their sides of the story to tell as well. I spoke to her for more. We do apologize for the poor sound quality.
What inspired the book is a number of reasons, but I'll just hone in on a few. The first is when I was doing my master's thesis and I was looking for research specifically around African women, I really struggled with finding it. So I made a note to myself that if I were to anything, I need to dedicate, to this body of work, firstly. Secondly, there's a Toni Morrison quote that says, if there's a book you would love to read that hasn't yet been written, make it your duty to write that book. So again, I thought to myself, there's something to be done there. But thirdly, in a decade within this space, having conversations with younger women, with my peers and with older women, there are particular themes, in all our journeys that kept on sticking. And I thought to myself, if as African women and as black women specifically, we aren't documenting our experiences, then who are we expecting to do it on our behalf? So that forms part of the inspiration.
The chapter, looking at your time as an intern is quite important because a lot of graduates come into the workplace not knowing what to expect. When you look back at your journey, what are some of the things you wish someone had told you as an intern on day one?
So much, Nastasia. But as you said, reflecting in retrospect, I really wish someone would have emphasized the importance on clarity, right? Because it's not just about you being in there and being there. You, consistently throughout your journey are responsible for being clear about what you would like to get out of it. So owning the blueprint and the framework of what you'd like to get out of your experience. Firstly, clarity, but also being comfortable. So the second would be around comfort of the zigzagging, because some careers take a very, firm and traditional sort of upward trajectory, but others don't. So being comfortable with the fact that you might do this here, then do that, then, but ultimately working to where you want to get. And the last thing, I wish I'd known is contentment, being okay, and not losing your spark despite what you may go through. Similar to life, there are good days and there are bad corporate days, but just being comfortable and still staying true to yourself despite, what season you may find yourself. So those are the three things I wish I knew from the beginning.
Oftentimes, we talk to young people about finding a mentor. However, recently I learned that finding a sponsor as well within the environment is quite important, because a sponsor is the kind of person who is aware of what you're doing. They know what you're capable of. And when they're sitting in those big corporate meetings, they can actually bring your name and put it on the table and say, Lindelwa is good at doing A, B, and C. Let's give her a chance. Was it easy for you to find a sponsor?
Not at all. Anything that's worth it isn't easy, right, Nastasia? So it wasn't easy at all. And another thing I learned is, you need to cast your net wide, right? Because when looking for either a mentor or a sponsor, your value also needs to be communicated very clearly, because it's someone else's time. And something that I've learned is with either a mentor or a sponsor, what you do and what you believe in, also needs to be aligned to what they do and what they believe in, right? It can't be in contradiction. There's a certain level of chemistry that's required for those relationships to work. But the thing around your clarity and your value, is also really important. So, you get turned down one a few times, but you can't lose hope and faith. You just need to be resilient, be persistent. People are busy. People are doing what they need to do. So it wasn't easy at all, but, you need to be steadfast and believe in what you believe in and hoping that, that the other person sees that too.
Your experience in dealing with a toxic work environment, which, some people will encounter at least once in their work lifetime. How was that for you?
It was really, really tough in the moment, Nastasia. I think I even say in the book, when you encounter something for the first time and you don't have the tools to deal with it, right? It's really, really difficult as a young person, even in the space. But and in retrospect, it's a learning, right? So where there's difficulty, it doesn't mean that there's no growth happening. Is what I learned in the end, is that through whatever painful experiences one may have gone through, at the end there was a lot of growth happening.
What has been the feedback so far since the book, has launched and, many people can find it on various bookshelves?
I've been so overwhelmed at how positive the feedback has been, Nastasia. I'm having so many young people, either reach out, either on Instagram or LinkedIn, saying, thank you so much. This book came at a time in my life where I needed advice from a big sister that I didn't have, So I'm really, really grateful at all the feedback. And I think, as Dr. Judy Dlamini says in the foreword, it's a really raw and an authentic story, right? And it's not just a Lindelwa story, but also the other woman that I interviewed, that form part of the chapters. So the fact that it's almost a community conversation and people are really receiving it well.
We have your weather details up next with Mpora.